Woohoo! Welcome everybody to our chat on ESSE Essence today. Hello, Mr. Andrew Gardella.
Hello, Suzy.
So, I was actually thinking that we might have someone interviewing us today, but I don't think that really happened. So,
Oh,
we have to come up ourselves
I
with
can
some
interview you,
interesting thing to.
Suzy.
Oh,
If
you
you
want to
want to
interview me?
be interviewed, I can interview you.
Well, so really, the theme of this was, hey, I've done an ESSE class, now what? Basically, what are we doing in ESSE Essence? Why do we even have this second class, this second level? What's going on? What are we doing? So, um, Andrew, what do you say?
We have it because we have it.
So, Suzy,
Of course.
can we say what ESSE is? Maybe there is someone that would love to go and they have not yet done ESSE.
Okay, sure.
Oh,
So ESSE is the energetic synthesis of structural embodiment, and it is a type of bodywork that got created from the tools of access consciousness, with just also being an energy that was creating a connection between the molecules of the gifter and the receiver that was different from other body type work. So so the ESSE, the normal ESSE class, there is no such thing as a normal ESSE class, but there's ESSE for bodies, where we work on people bodies and we exchange with each other. And there's ESSE for horses, where we work on horse bodies. And there's ESSE extravaganza, where we work on both horses and people. And those are all the foundational ESSE classes. And then if you wanted to come to ESSE Essence, which is the next level up, basically, that is where you have to have done one of those ESSE classes, and also a COP and a 3-day body class. So what we're really looking at with this class is to give you even a more sense of what ESSE is, when you're really following the energy even more dynamically. A lot of the things with body work in a lot of modalities is that you have to follow a certain structure that they have developed. You work on this area of the body first, and then you go here, and then you go there, and then you do this, and then you do that. In ESSE, what we're doing is we're really following the energy of what the body is asking for. So the body has its own communication, and a lot of times we override that, and we are not really willing to listen to our bodies. And in ESSE, this is one of those places where we are doing our best to show you to get in touch with the body, and not with a technique or with an ABCD of how to, but really following what the body is asking for. Because if your body has a restriction somewhere, let's say you have a stiff shoulder, does it always mean that it comes from the shoulder, or could it come from some other place in the body? And the body knows. The body knows where it has restrictions. The body knows where it has been locked up. And a lot of times we come to conclusions about it. Oh, my knee is hurting. Okay. So what does the body have to say about that? What is that actually? Is it even pain? What is all of that when our body is talking to us like that? And so in the ESSE Essence, we dive deeper into that conversation, but also in the way of doing it, where we're working on certain areas of the body that we don't usually show during the beginner's class. So we will work, for example, inside the mouth. We will work on organs. So what else, Andrew?
I think really the difference too is in the the ESSE bodies or ESSE course, we're looking at just getting you guys familiar with the energy of ESSE and touching bodies, because maybe you've never touched bodies before. With ESSE Essence, it's more about you, one, following the energy more and being the energy. So where it's like, okay, because what is essence always about? Essence is being it. So if you're being the energy, what does that create? What does that change with your body? What does it change with the body you're working on? And then where do you go from there? And like Suzy said, we also do work in more, intimate areas of the body, because now all of a sudden you've done some ESSE classes, you have a different awareness of how you can touch a body. And so you're hopefully, our hope is you're more sensitive and a little bit more aware of how you would go about working on the body, or at least more willing to play, so you're like, okay, I can, this is weird, but I'll do it.
That's actually a good one. This is weird, but I'll do it. How
Yep.
often is that really true? Where the body is asking you to do something really strange and you do it, and then that person says, "Oh wow, this really changed something." I mean, the amount of times I have put people into really strange positions to work on them, like, and then you go, well, okay, this looks weird, this is weird, and yet the body was able to change something because of it. So yeah, that's a good one, Andrew.
Well, but I think it's like, for me at least, that's where you're willing to actually, because so many people look at me when I do sessions there and they're like, well, I would never do that, or I'd never be able to do that in a session. And I'm like, correct, but you also have the point of view, I couldn't be that, or I couldn't handle it, or I couldn't do it. Whereas I'm just like, okay, this is weird, but I'll do it. Or okay, this is what's going on, cool. And I think, in the ESSE Essence class, that's what we look at, developing a little bit more, is where you really don't have a point of view about what the body's requiring. And you're just more willing to be aware of it and go with it, rather than going to your point of view of like, oh my God, there's something bad's going to happen, or, oh, I can't handle this, or I can't be this, or I can't do this.
So everything that is times a gazillion. You just
Wrong,
join our
good and bad,
creative, please.
all nine shorts boys me on.
Oh gosh.
Hey, can I ask a question without a headphone? Is that working?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm driving.
Sure.
Well, I can still hear you, but I don't know. Can you ask the question?
Good question. So, what popped up was like to ask, like, what have you seen that can change for bodies also when you work on organs? Like, sounds very exciting. Because I know, like, when in the like basic ESSE, you'll work on a toe and it will change the entire structure. Can you say a little more about like when you start working with the internal systems?
Well, the thing is really truly what we're trying to avoid with all of this is to create if A then B syndrome that a lot of people are looking for. If I have a headache, where do I touch the body to alleviate the headache? Or, what happens when I touch the kidneys, or when I work on the liver? In truth is, I have no idea what happens when you do that. But if the body is asking for that, if the body is actually pulling you in there and it's showing you an area that you're working on, the body knows what it can change with that and what is being facilitated with that. And so I always trust that the body will show me where to go. I don't go up to a body and say, oh, you have a stiff neck, so I have to work on your shoulders now. Or I don't do that. I start touching the body, and the body will guide me to what it requires to facilitate whatever it desires to have facilitated. And then it also depends on whether or not the being is willing to have all the change, because sometimes the being is not willing to have as much change as the body is asking for. So this comes into consideration, and it's really acknowledging that we create everything that is going on with our bodies, and we are the creators of everything that goes on with our bodies. And so with that being said, we also have to be willing to destroy and uncreate that again. And if we're not willing, even if on one person it might have done something amazing and a miracle shows up when you do something, on another person you do the same thing and it's like, meh, nothing happens, and they might have the same condition. So it's not just, if you touch the liver or if you touch, some other organ, this or that will show up.
Well, I also, like you said, it's about the energy. So it's like you could put your hands on one place, but where the energy actually gets, where the body actually receives the energy or takes it is going to be different too.
Wow, I love this. Thank you so much, both.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
And the other thing is, I think that throughout all of ESSE, but even more so in ESSE Essence, you look at the body as this, you try and make it into pieces and parts, but it's not pieces and parts, it's one whole thing. There's not this external and internal, and you want to cut it into all these muscle groups and this organ, but it's all continuous. They might have different functions and they might do, but it's one whole body. So but when you look at it from, I'm working on the organs, all of a sudden you limit what you're working on based on the idea that that's only where you're working. And that's like within ESSE Essence, that's kind of part of the energy of it. It's like looking at undoing where you're creating these separations just based on how your point of view is. What would change with your body and with the bodies you're touching if you actually if you worked on it without any point of view of separation?
Yep.
That's what would happen, Suzy. Yep. Well, so everything that brought up or let down will you destroy and uncreate it.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Albina, do you give us a high five or is that a question?
Oh, I missed you teasing me. Yeah, so I've done ESSE like some years ago, but like somehow I just realized with the call that we are having right now that I've never had a paid session. Like the bodies will ask for it when I swap or in big clusters or something, but like, and I was just looking at like, what point of view do I have that's like not creating this? I'm just like wondering if you have some questions for me.
Well, what if it's not about what point of view you have? It's more of, do you have a point of view?
No, I actually don't.
Well, then have you chosen to do it?
Again, no.
Then there you go. Choice creates. If you would like to do sessions, choose to do sessions.
I do sessions, but they're not paid.
Well, are you asking to get paid? Have you chosen to get paid sessions?
Not for ESSE. I'm just like wondering what's that like.
Well, have you asked? Okay, what would it take to get paid for ESSE sessions?
I'll do that. This makes me happy. Thank you.
You're
wow,
welcome.
This is so orgasmic. It's kind of like I can't charge for something that's so awesome and orgasmic, which is weird.
Well, yeah, because if you're paid to do something orgasmic, then that makes you a whore.
Yes, you're right, Andrea. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's funny. And I just had something in my head and it's gone. So there you go.
Suzy.
Disappeared.
Was
disappeared.
It
It probably was. And that's why it just went whee and then gone. It's literally gone. Does anyone else have a question? Is that someone talking?
It sounded like it, but I wasn't sure if someone just thought about it, but then backed off, or they just unmuted themselves accidentally.
I'm not sure because it sounds very muffled.
Okay, maybe like this? Is it?
Yes.
Oh, that's better. Yes.
Okay, I got my ears in now.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's a question, but what I wanted to say is that I love that there's no meaning to anything anymore. I mean, not with the head, and just follow. And on the other hand, there's this constant conflict from, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing. And I know it because you're doing it and you hear what they are experiencing, that it does something. And that's such it's both there. It's like, okay, how can I get comfortable with this?
Yeah.
But
And
really
believe it or not,
working with it.
that is something I literally just had a conversation with Gary about the other day, because I don't feel what I'm doing. I don't have a way to describe it. It's not a visceral thing that shows up in my body where I can say like, oh, you know, if I have my hand here and if I do this, then I can feel the body shifting and doing things, you know. And even after all these years, it's not about feeling anything really. And sometimes I get that this can be a little bit daunting when you're starting out and you're going, I have my hand here. Am I doing anything? What's going on? And really, truly, the best way to get feedback is to ask the person that you're touching, hey, how is this for you? And let them give you feedback, because a lot of what I do now, I have had people give me feedback. I have had animals give me feedback. And so I know now that when I'm quote unquote doing something, I am doing something, but I wouldn't be able to feel what I'm doing. So don't make it about that. It's really more about knowing it. And I do know now. It used to be that I would doubt that, but that I stopped. I'm no longer doubting. I know I'm doing something. I just can't really put the words to it.
What the result will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't,
And it's never about a result for me, to be honest. And that's maybe why this was different from the get-go, because I never functioned from I want to create a result. It was more like I always just wanted to engage and play with the body in a certain way, to create some more freedom or ease, but I never even that wasn't defined. Like I didn't know what that meant in a way for the body. Like it wasn't like I thought to myself, oh, freedom and ease means. I just knew that it was creating some space for the bodies, but even that was not defined in a way.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you.
we love it. Shut up, you're fine. Every time that comes up, you know, you just be like, okay, interesting point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you guys want to know about?
I just want to say thank you. I just love ESSE, so thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You love it so much, it's like family, so you'll never get paid for it.
Good one, Andrew.
And this is how our wedgie is done.
Andrew always has the wedgie slinger on.
Well, you know, it's that time of year, it's family time, so everyone's preparing for.
Yes, that is true.
Suzy, hi Andrew. I
Hi.
have a question. question. Can we facilitate ESSE class or introduction after we do this class?
That is a very good question. Thank you for asking that. So yes, after you have gone through ESSE Essence, you can become an intro facilitator. You just have to pay a yearly fee, and then that way you are on the website and you get listed and everything, and you get some logos and you get some stuff, and then you can go and do ESSE intros for up to 2 hours. And you can work on a person while you're giving the intro. And in the intro, you're not really, you're not letting people work on each other, but you do work on a person during the intro. So yeah, that's the exciting part about this. So once you have finished ESSE Essence, you definitely are eligible to do that.
Is it only for certified facilitators or for anyone?
No, that's for anybody who's taken that class. So you can do that even if you're not a CF.
Do you need to be a CFMW?
Do you
Well,
need to
need
be
a-
a yes,
Well,
because
need
you
to
are.
be-
Sorry, Andrew, say that
You-
again.
They already are because they've taken a COP. So
Yeah. So the COP is the prereq and the 3-day body class to come to this one. So, and Gaia says she thinks ESSE should have its own T-shirt. I love ESSE, or a Christmas sweater edition. I love ESSE so much that I do it for free.
I like the Christmas sweater, Essie, except I'd like it so much that I would want to wear it all the time. And you know, if it's a Christmas sweater, you can only wear it like during Christmas season.
Yeah, or you can just decide that you know, have Christmas all year round. I know some people who did that and they had a Christmas tree up all year. Well, maybe you don't want to be that strange, Andrew.
No.
Okay. So what else do you guys want? Elena?
Sorry, I have a question from Spanish.
Yep.
It says, I have been doing sessions. Wait a second. And the first thing I do is destroy and uncreate my expectations. What other question can I do to move the energy from expectations from the person?
Good luck.
Because I get people that have pains and they don't know what it is. So I put my hands, I expand, and then that. And then also, when are you doing ESSE in South America? Y dijo, bueno, sorry. I will just say it in Spanish very quickly.
Okay. Andrew, do you want to talk about this or?
I think you said it perfectly when you said good luck.
Yes.
The other thing is, if you're looking at destroying and uncreating your projections and expectations, is trying to get them to destroy and uncreate their projections and expectation, a projection and an expectation. You know, if you're part of having no projections and expectations for the session includes not being annoyed that they have projections and expectations of what's going to come from the session. Suzy, it looks like you have a fly that really likes you.
It does, and it's usually it's so funny. Like sometimes this whole fly thing is so funny, and they always want to contribute something, and they sit right in my face. And this one I'm being annoyed by, so it's gonna come even more. So yeah, I am not an interesting point of view about this one today.
Gaia says the fly wants ESSE.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, when people come to you in pain, they're always looking at someone to fix it for them. And a lot of times there isn't any acknowledgement to what is actually going on with the body when it is in pain. Like what, is the body communicating something? Is it theirs? Is what's going on when a body shows up with pain? And those are the things that, you know, Dane recently started facilitating the body whispering class, and there's been so many things in that class about how we really have not been willing to communicate with our bodies or acknowledge our bodies or just even be with our bodies. And with ESSE too, my sense is that we are going to uncover so much more over the next few years when it comes to bodies. And there are so many things that have been described and defined in many ways that aren't correct, you know, and that really often trap us in conclusions instead of really giving us a question. Because if you're coming to someone with "my body is in pain," you're no longer in the question. Even if you now ask a question, well, how do I change this? Well, you've already concluded that your body is in pain. So, and you might say, well, it is, you know, I can feel it. Well, yes, maybe. And what is actually going on here? We don't ask those questions because we've already decided what happens when we're in pain, or how we get out of pain, or blah, blah, blah. So, you know, part of this also is the acknowledgement that people will come to you and they just want to get fixed. A lot of people don't want to actually communicate with their body or look at that, because they just want to do what they're doing, but now without the pain. So that's where you come in. So just acknowledge that too. And then just, you know, have your wedgie slinger like Andrew. And if there's an open door, put a wedgie in there and walk away and see if that also gives them a different way to communicate with their body. That's the best you can be, is just a different possibility, and giving them a way to have a new awareness with their body, but you can't force them into it either. So everything that is times a gazillion. We just try on creative, please. Right and wrong, good and bad.
I'll talk all night for its bosnians.
So she's asking again, that's the reason they go out without the pain and they come back 2 weeks later with the same pain.
Well,
Andrew, you've had some of those, haven't you?
yeah. And the other thing I always ask them, is it the same pain? Because again, remember, point of view creates your reality. You know, so ask them, you could always ask them, okay, with the tools are light or heavy. Okay, is this the same pain or is this something else? You know, if they're willing to go there. You could also ask, is this pain or is this something else? You know, because if they, I mean, and there's lots of people that come back repeatedly, and I just work on them over and over again. And I just make a point of like, okay, well, you were good for how long? And they're like, well, 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, so when's the last time that you didn't have this pain for 2 weeks? And they're like, oh, never. And I said, then what are you complaining about? We made progress. It just got better for 2 weeks. Let's see what changes after this session.
Cool.
I think that's I think we have a Czech question in the chat, Diana, in the English chat. And then Dan, did you have a question? Go ahead.
Well, actually, first of all, my gratitude for showing me this energy. And I'm so grateful because it's communicating so clearly. And I've been like not making it significant, because like the last 2 times I did it, I was running bars to one of my clients, patients, people, and it was screaming, when you finish, do ESSE. And I was like, okay, I'm finishing the bars. This is the first time. And it was like screaming right at me, like, do ESSE, do ESSE. And I was like really going into the interesting point of view, because when I finished, I started doing it and it felt so strong that I don't want to make it significant, but I am, because at the end, this patient came because she supposedly had like 5 centimeters tumor, and the day after she came, it was gone. So my advice to her, and that's what I'm asking for you guys to contribute. Like when people come for the first session and then you do ESSE, and then changes a lot. The only tool I had was just, let's just not make it significant. Like what else is possible now that you don't have this? So I don't know how to handle very well, like people when they have like a major change or like any change or like no change that they perceive.
So what are you asking for?
Like when, like these two people I did the ESSE for, it did create a major change on them. Like for the second one, her mood, like for years, has been like super bad mood. And now she's talking about the universe and stuff like that and being in a good mood. And she has surgery today. And I perceive she's in a better space. But I don't say that to them because I don't want to make it significant that, oh, this is the main thing. So I don't know how to handle, like, if they have a change, how could I approach that or give them a question for to. The only thing I could said was like, okay, if you receive change, thank you, and then what else is possible? But I don't know what else to say because like the last two times I did, it was a major change in both cases.
Yeah, how cool is that? And what if you just did say, how does it get better than this? Why do you think you have to define it?
Because I kind of like, I used to do that. So, or maybe give them a little bit more. It's like that.
But what if you just acknowledged what you did change and then just leave it at that?
Yes, that.
And you can always ask what else is possible, but it sounds like you're trying to sort of make it into a roadmap of change, but there is no such thing because some people are willing to have massive change and others are not. And it's not your fault either way. it's you're contributing something to them changing, and you are being an invitation, and you are being a miracle worker, and in that way you are contributing to their change, but they still have to choose that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting hooked up in the fact that they always have a choice before and after the session, no matter what occurs. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So don't make yourself wrong if quote unquote nothing happens, and celebrate the times when big changes show up and be like, whoa, that's cool. How does it get better?
Yeah, exactly that. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And I always.
And you are a miracle worker. Go ahead. Sorry, Andrew.
Well, I just always ask. I never assume like, point of view creates reality. So if you say, oh, nothing changed, well, is that true? Or is that the lie that you're buying? Did something change? Yes, no. Okay, yes is later. Cool. Something changed. How does it get any better than that? Just because they might not notice it doesn't mean that nothing changed. But if you don't acknowledge it, then you'll just drive yourself crazy because you'll think, oh, I'm bad or terrible, or I didn't change anything. Well, is that actually true?
Yeah, because these two last people is people I know for years. Mm-hmm. So the changes are like very perceivable by everybody. So yeah, I think I was making myself wrong for them not acknowledging, or trying to find something to give them again afterwards, instead of just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Diana, did you want to translate that question?
I'll try. Do I have to switch off the back sound, or is it fine like that?
It's fine like that.
Okay. That the energy is beautifully running over there, that she perceives the energy running amazingly. And if she can compare it to a process or like a body process that she now feels or senses, like if she's running in her body like 1,000 times a process of a happy embodiment. That actually takes me to, I was translating something and you said, I don't know if you or Andrew said that ESSE Essence is something like, and I would have to translate myself, that ESSE Essence is something like ESC, kind of, that it's like, I don't know if I'm like mistaken right now, but that Dane compared it to like ESC for bodies or something, that you're using that energy of communion with molecules of the bodies. Can you just like say a little bit more about that? I'm going for lunch.
Translate, yes. I think ESC is ESC and ESSE is ESSE. They're two different energies. There are some similarities, obviously, but what Dane's talked about with ESSE is that ESSE is the key to generative embodiment. And so are we looking at creating communion with bodies? Totally. But also that's part of what embodiment is, you know, because embodiment isn't just having a body, but it's you embody this entire reality. So what would change in your life if you truly embodied this entire reality? And everything doesn't allow you to be, perceive and receive that. Will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And I think, ESC is energetic synthesis of communion, and ESSE is energetic synthesis of structural embodiment. So they're, like I said, they're bringing energies together to create one to communion, the other one structural embodiment. So I think, they can be very similar. They're like colors. Red and blue are both colors, but they're still distinct, and you could tell them apart. So I think that's the same way with ESSE and the other energies available with access stuff.
Yeah. And I think the other question was about, the body work, like other body work and the energies of that. And like Andrew said, what if it was just literally, if you looked at it all as different colors, everything has a different color. And, if you mix them all together, it becomes brown. So maybe you don't want to mix them all together, but you just want to run one at a time, or maybe two at a time, maximum three. But not try to do it all in one shot. Like Gary always says, look, guys, more is not always better. It's not that if you run 3 or 4 body processes at the same time, you're doing the body, you're giving the body something great. It's oftentimes that the body, what's the brown, the brown color, you're giving the body shit instead of giving it bright yellow, bright blue, bright red, whatever it might be. You're giving it shit. So everything that is times a gazillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And the other thing is, like ESSE is different than a body process too, because ESSE is all the energies that are available, that you're aware of, or that the person you're working on is aware of, that you can bring together. You create an energetic synthesis. So you bring them all together to create something new, to create some kind of new thing. But like Suzy's saying, more isn't necessarily better. It's not like your computer where you can download 3 things at the same time. When you try to add more to whatever you're doing, it becomes all one file. It doesn't stay, it's 3 separate things. Other questions?
Well, we're really excited to have the class come up in Italy in January. And what would it take for this to be East Joy and Glory for traveling? It looks like a lot of places are doing funny things at the moment. So what else is possible? And I would love to have you all be at the castle and play. I have to say that class at the castle adds yet another, I don't even know how to say that, another possibility, another sense, another creation to it that you don't necessarily get in other places. So I'm really excited to be at the castle for this class. And for all of you that are still missing an ESSE class, Andrew, have you chosen yet where you're going to do one before, or?
Not yet. We were looking at it, trying to figure out where is going to be the easiest place to have it with all of these shenanigans.
Yeah. So just know that the weekend before this class, Andrew is going to offer an ESSE class somewhere in Europe. So you'll be able to go to that if possible. And yeah, and truly, what else is possible with bodies? I am excited and yay. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your interest. And thank you for all of you translators. You're amazing. You've done a great job getting the last minute humanoids here. I love it. So yeah, so if nobody else has a question, I would say we're good.
Yep.
Okay.
I put my question in the chat, and it was about what the Essence wanted to tell in the, because you in the mail it sounds like there was something new what was created in the essay in these 2 years. It was 2 years ago before you did the Essence. So it sounded like a sort of exploding happiness. So I was curious what it would be, what you together created, or what the ESSE itself created.
Well, to me, it's really everything that has been changing and everything that's been going on in Access, especially the conversations lately about bodies, the changes that have come up lately in the classes, but then also really perceiving the difference that it is now with touching bodies. It's so much more dynamic. It seems that, you touch a body and changes occur instantaneously, which in the past I have seen that way more just with the animals, like with horses, because if they want to change something and you touch them, it just changes, and you don't have to stay there for an hour. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to work on them. It's basically, if the horse can receive it in just a split second, that's what they will do. And, with people, there has always been this thing of you have to work for at least an hour for the person to allow themselves to have the change. And now it seems that bodies are overriding people sometimes, maybe. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but it seems there is more speed in a way in the session. And so yes, the change for me is exciting, because I can, every time I touch a body, it's different. ESSE is never the same. It's never been the same, but to me, actually, the ESSE sessions lately have a sense of being on steroids, as they just are. So yeah, so I'm excited for this class, because I know that a lot of this will just get infiltrated into that class. And so yeah, I'm excited.
And there's this thank you very much. I love the answer. And I about the traveling stuff, I was planning to go to Zagreb, and the COVID playing rules, like putting the test in the nose and all that stuff, that was there every day in the room. and my body kept me home. So I was wondering, I sort of assume that the castle has its own rules and that's not there, or what do you know about that part? Is it in the castle also that they have to follow the rules of the country, or is it sort of an own entity where it's peaceful all those days and you don't have?
Yeah, I mean, we can inform you of the details because we don't even know yet what the details will be. In the past, it's been very easy, and and I'm not sure what they are going to implement, but we will keep you informed.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you very much.
you're very welcome. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for being here again, and we'll see you hopefully in an ESSE class somewhere. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.